For our next lesson, we're going to work on some abstract landscapes using some patterning and some of the color schemes that we've talked about. Now, these are just a few examples of some that are not quite finished, some that are finished. We'll be working with markers this time, and we're going to talk a little bit about some vocabulary that we've studied before, but we're going to review it quickly. And we're going to do our practice on your iPads. So if you'll get your iPads ready with Sketchbook Express and a stylus ready. Okay, here we are in Sketchbook Express. And here's a couple of samples I want to show you. We're going to start real easy, just building a very simplified landscape. And we're going to use the monochromatic color scheme. Remember, that's tints and shades of one color. So if we look at just a couple of examples, here's one done in green, here's one done in purples. So we're going to talk about the color selector in Sketchbook Express. So remember, let's do this together. The first one, it's real simple. If you'll hit the plus sign, that gives us a new page. Then we're going to go and select the marker tool in black, kind of a thin radius. We've talked about radius and opacity before. So using a thin black marker, and I'm just going to start by building my landscape layers, different sections of the landscape, the foreground, down here, right next to you. You want to make sure you connect things. Don't worry about being too neat. We just want to make sure that when we start to fill it in, it doesn't flood. Okay, the next layer, kind of the middle ground area. Maybe put 2 sections of middle ground. And then a mountain range back here in the background. I'm kind of coming back and redoing those ends just to make sure the paint doesn't leak through those areas. And then I'll leave that for the sky. Okay, now when we go to the color selector, here's what I want to talk about. The outside of the wheel. Now we've talked about the color wheel before. The outside of the wheel in Sketchbook Express here. This is where you select your different colors. So if I want orange, if I want yellow. The square inside the wheel, that's where you select your tints and shades. So if we're working with monochromatic colors, we want tints and shades of one color. So I'm going to go with reds for this one, and I'm going to start with a deep dark red for my bottom layer. And I need to select my paint bucket. Okay, and let's fill this area. And remember, as things go back in space, they get grayer and lighter. And if you remember, that's called atmospheric perspective. If you look outside the window and you're looking back at different mountain ranges, they get grayer and lighter as they go back. So here's my dark red, and so I'm going to start moving it up. This is really kind of a brick red, red-orange. So grayer and lighter as I go back. And then for the sky area, I'm going to do really pale, lots of white added into this color. Okay, so that creates a monochromatic abstract landscape. Very simple. I'd like for you to do 2 different monochromatic color schemes. So if we go back to mine over here, I've got one done in purple, one in green, and one in orange. Okay, I'm going to give you some time. I want you to get 2 of those done.